The stars shimmered like a frozen sea as the Earth delegation ship approached the interstellar Peace Citadel. Its hull reflected the endless galaxy, glowing softly as it entered docking alignment. The station loomed ahead, a massive construct of polished alloys and alien geometry. It rotated slowly in deep space, orbiting the galactic core like a silent judge watching over all life. Commander James Carter stood at the front observation deck, hands behind his back. He watched the Citadel grow larger through the reinforced glass. His face was calm, unreadable, but his mind was sharp, alert. He had seen war on Earth, on Mars, and in the outer colonies. He knew what power looked like, and he could feel it pressing against the silence of space. The Peace Citadel was more than a symbol of unity. It was a fortress, one that wore diplomacy like a mask. "Commander, we're cleared for docking," said Lieutenant Shen, standing by the console. Carter gave a simple nod. "Proceed." The Earth ship moved into position, guided by unseen magnetic arms. A soft click echoed through the hull as it connected. Lights inside the docking bay blinked in sequence. Earth's flag, now redesigned with a blue sphere wrapped in silver rings, glowed on the side of the ship. The delegation prepared to disembark. Carter wore a formal black uniform with a silver Earth emblem on his chest. His boots shined, his posture rigid. He didn't believe in grand gestures, but he understood presence. In the galaxy's eyes, he was Earth. The docking ramp extended with a soft hiss. The airlock opened to a welcome party. Tall figures of various species stood in ceremonial robes. Their faces, if they had faces, revealed little. Some had eyes that blinked sideways. Others had no mouths at all. One delegate, a floating sphere of light, pulsed gently as Carter stepped forward. A humanoid figure moved ahead of the group. He was tall, robed in deep blue with skin that shimmered like wet stone. His eyes glowed faintly. "I am High Chancellor Varun, representative of the United Galactic Council," he said in flawless English. "Welcome to the Citadel, Commander Carter. Earth's presence honors us." Carter extended a hand, though Varun did not shake it. "Commander James Carter, thank you for receiving us." Varun offered a subtle bow of his head, then gestured for the delegation to follow. "The Council has long awaited this meeting. Humanity's role in the future of this galaxy is significant." Carter followed, saying nothing. The corridor they walked through was high and curved, made of black metal lined with pale green light. Alien languages flickered along the walls. Carter's translator implant whispered meanings in his ear. Unity, order, sacrifice. As they walked, he looked around. The air was sterile but not cold. The lights above shifted softly, reacting to movement. The design was efficient, almost too perfect. Every door they passed was shut. Every step echoed evenly. They entered the council hall, a massive circular chamber with a domed ceiling that displayed real-time views of nearby stars. Delegates from over 100 species sat in assigned sections, each marked with glowing glyphs. Varun led Carter to a central platform that rose slowly, placing them at the chamber's heart. "Earth joins the United Galactic Council," Varun announced. His voice carried through the chamber, amplified by unseen tech. "We welcome our new partners in the pursuit of peace." Soft tones of approval echoed from some delegates. Others remained silent. Carter scanned the room. Eyes organic, digital, and otherwise were all focused on him. Some curious, some cold. He knew the truth. Earth was not here because it was loved. It was here because it had become too powerful to ignore. After decades of rapid technological advancement, Earth now possessed AI and energy weapons that rivaled ancient empires. Humanity had become a wild card. Varun turned to him again. "Your quarters have been prepared. Formal negotiations begin tomorrow. Tonight we hope you will rest and observe the Citadel. We believe you will find it enlightening." "I'm sure I will," Carter said flatly. As the meeting ended, he stepped down from the platform, his team following closely. Oroa's voice chimed softly in his neural link. Observation: Chancellor Varun's diplomatic tone does not match his energy readings. Suggest caution. Carter didn't answer right away. He walked in silence until they were back in their private quarters, a sleek, clean suite designed for human use. Only then did he speak. "They want something, Aurora," he muttered, "and I intend to find out what it is before we give anything away." Outside the thick glass window, the stars pulsed softly. The citadel floated like a sleeping beast, and deep within it, plans were already in motion. Commander James Carter stood at the window of his quarters, watching the stars drift slowly beyond the transparent glass. The galaxy outside looked calm, peaceful, but Carter knew better. Peace could be a weapon too, sharper than any blade when used by skilled hands. The door behind him opened with a soft hiss. Lieutenant Shen entered, her expression serious. "They're ready for us in the council hall, Commander," she said. Carter nodded. "Let's hear what they have to offer." Minutes later, the Earth delegation entered the great circular council hall once again. Delegates from countless alien worlds watched from their floating seats, their glowing eyes or shifting limbs all focused on the humans. In the center of the chamber, High Chancellor Varun stood waiting, hands folded behind his back. His voice echoed as he addressed the room. "We are gathered here today to finalize the terms of Earth's entry into the United Galactic Council," he began. "It is our honor to welcome our human allies into a shared future." Carter kept his face calm, arms at his sides. He nodded once. "Earth is open to partnership and peace." Varun's eyes glimmered. "Then we present the standard integration requirements. Earth will contribute to the Unified Defense Network. Your fleets will be logged in the Council Registry, and your artificial intelligence system, Aurora, will be partially transferred into the shared intelligence grid for collective safety." Silence. Carter's expression didn't change, but his heartbeat did. He stepped forward. "I'm sorry, did you say transfer Aurora into your system?" Varun tilted his head slightly. "Correct. The AI known as Aurora is central to Earth's defense, planetary management, and technological development. By integrating it into the Council's grid, we ensure transparency and trust." Carter took a slow breath. His voice remained steady, but there was steel behind it. "Aurora was built by Earth. It runs our cities, manages our skies, controls our satellites, and guards our borders. Giving you access to it would mean handing over our spine." Varun's smile was patient, practiced. "We are not asking for full control, only partial access, Commander. Limited connections, enough to establish trust and align security protocols." All new members agree to this. Carter looked around the chamber. Some delegates nodded. Others simply watched, expressionless. "So this is the price of peace?" he asked. "Hand over our most advanced system so you can watch us." Varun raised a hand, calm and firm. "It is not about watching, it is about balance. Earth is no longer a backwater world. You possess advanced quantum weapons and adaptive AI technology that threatens the delicate equilibrium we have worked centuries to build." The words were diplomatic, but the message was clear. You are too powerful, and we do not trust you. Carter didn't answer immediately. He glanced at Lieutenant Shen, then felt Aurora's voice in his neural link. Request declined politely. Recommend delay decision for deeper analysis. Carter spoke. Earth needs time to review these terms. We didn't come here to be absorbed. We came to cooperate. Varun gave a slow nod. Of course, Commander. You have 3 Earth days to respond. We will reconvene then. The meeting ended, but the tension did not. As Carter and his team walked back through the Citadel corridors, the mood was heavy. That was a setup. Shen said quietly. They waited until now to spring it on us. Carter nodded. They wanted us here. They made sure we came. And now they want the keys to our house. Inside their private meeting room, Carter sat at the long glass table, holograms lit up above it, displaying the Council's proposal in detail. Aurora's calm voice filled the room. Strategic risk level, high. Integration of Aurora into the Council grid compromises security, control and privacy. Strongly advise rejection. Carter rubbed his temples. We hand them Aurora, they'll never let go, and they'll know everything. Every move, every defense, every weakness. Another advisor, Dr. Leia Monroe, leaned forward. But if we say no, Commander, we might look like a threat. The Council could cut ties, maybe worse. That's the point, Carter said. This wasn't a request, it was a test. There was a pause. The room felt colder. They're not offering peace, he continued. They're offering control, wrapped in golden words. No one spoke after that. Later, alone in his quarters, Carter stood once again at the window. He watched the stars and thought about Earth, about the people back home who had no idea what was being discussed on their behalf. He thought about the cost of saying yes and the cost of saying no. Then he whispered, to no one in particular, what do we do when peace means surrender? Aurora's voice answered softly, that depends, Commander. How much are you willing to lose to avoid war? Carter didn't respond. His eyes stayed locked on the stars beyond the citadel, where silence held its breath. The corridors of the citadel were quiet that night. Light panels along the curved walls glowed in soft blues and greens, casting long shadows behind Commander James Carter as he walked alone. His boots tapped softly against the polished floor, the only sound in the vast emptiness. He needed to think. The Council's demand still echoed in his mind. Hand over Aurora, Earth's most powerful and closely guarded system. For Carter, it was like being asked to hand over the key to Earth's soul. He stepped into an observation room, a small circular chamber with a dome of glass looking out at the galaxy. The stars stretched endlessly in every direction, clusters of light against a sea of black. Carter stood in silence, hands clasped behind his back. Then he spoke, quietly. Aurora, you reading me? Always, Commander. How bad would it be if we gave them what they're asking for? A pause. Severe. Access to even a fraction of Aurora's systems would expose planetary defenses, political networks, and strategic assets. Council control would be partial in name only. Risk of data siphoning, 97%. Risk of eventual override, 83%. Carter let out a slow breath. Then we can't agree. That would be the logical conclusion. He nodded to himself. But logic wasn't the only factor. Earth was still recovering from years of chaos. People wanted stability, peace, a place in the galaxy. If he rejected the Council's terms, he risked isolating Earth completely, and possibly war. His thoughts were interrupted by a soft beep on his wrist console. A message, no name, no signal origin. Just a location, Deck 19, Section B, 4, 10 minutes. Come alone. Carter frowned. A trap? Maybe, but he was trained for worse. He turned from the window and made his way down through the Citadel's inner levels, past security checkpoints and unused docking bays. Deck 19 was darker, older, with signs of wear. This section wasn't meant for visitors. He found the location a storage chamber. Its lights flickered weakly overhead. Inside stood a single figure, a tall alien in dark robes, with deep red eyes and skin like sand. I didn't think you'd come, the alien said in a low voice. Depends on who you are, Carter replied. My name isn't important, the figure said. What matters is the truth. I'm listening. The alien glanced around, then activated a small device. A sound field wrapped around them, blocking outside ears. You're not wrong to distrust the Council, the figure said. Varun doesn't want peace, he wants control. Not just of Earth, of any world that resists his influence. Carter's eyes narrowed. Why tell me this? Because I've seen what happens to planets that say no. Their leaders disappear. Their networks go dark. Then a new regime appears, one loyal to the Council. Carter didn't move. His voice was quiet but sharp. Why should I believe you? The alien reached into a pouch and handed Carter a small data cube. This holds internal communications from the Cerosian diplomatic network. Plans to override Aurora's core, code samples, timelines. They're already preparing for the transfer. Carter took the cube, and slipped it into his pocket. The alien turned to leave. "You won't get many chances, Commander. If you hand over Aurora, Earth becomes another puppet. If you resist, be ready. Why help us?" The alien paused at the door. "Because my world chose silence, and now we answer to Varun's counsel, not our own people." And then he was gone. Carter stood alone in the flickering light, the cube warm in his hand. Later, back in the Earth delegation quarters, Carter called an emergency meeting. His team gathered quickly: Lieutenant Shen, Dr. Monroe, and 2 senior advisors. He placed the cube on the table. A projection rose, encrypted communications, lines of alien text, diagrams of Earth systems linked to a council grid. "This is what we're really dealing with," he said. "They don't want cooperation. They want command." Shen leaned forward. "If this gets out," "It won't," Carter interrupted. "We keep this quiet. If we accuse them, they'll deny it and spin it as fear-mongering. We need to make a decision before they force our hand." Dr. Monroe spoke carefully. "And what happens if we say no?" "We risk everything," Carter replied. "But we keep our soul." No one argued. That night, Carter sat alone once more, staring out at the same stars. This time he felt the weight of every possible future resting on his shoulders. Aurora's voice broke the silence. "Commander, should I begin strategic defense simulations?" "Not yet," Carter said. "But stay alert. Always." The stars offered no answers, only the quiet question that now ruled his thoughts. How far will they go to take what they want? The Citadel's grand halls were filled with light, but Commander James Carter felt the shadows tightening around him. He moved through the polished corridors like a soldier in enemy territory, calm on the outside, tense within. Every polite greeting, every subtle glance from alien delegates carried weight now. The truth in his pocket, evidence of the Council's real intentions, burned quietly like a fuse. Back in Earth's delegation suite, the mood was heavy. The team sat in silence around the large glass table. Holograms hovered in the air, documents, council charters, security grids. None of it changed what Carter had learned. The proposal wasn't a request. It was a calculated move, a test to see if Earth would bend. Lieutenant Shen broke the silence. "The Council released a statement an hour ago," she said, tapping the console. "They're calling Earth's hesitation a delay in unity, and suggesting Earth may not be ready for responsibility." Carter didn't respond at first. He stood by the window, staring out at the slow spin of the Citadel against the stars. "They're turning the galaxy against us," he said finally, "framing us as unstable, dangerous. It's classic pressure tactics." Dr. Monroe leaned forward, her voice measured. "Commander, there's no denying the Council has power. If we refuse to comply, we could lose diplomatic protections, trade, alliances. We might even be declared a rogue world." Carter turned toward her. "If we agree, we lose more than trade. We lose our independence." The room fell silent again. Aurora's voice filled the quiet space. "Commander, update: Council surveillance systems have increased focus on Earth delegation. Activity level up by 36%. Suggest internal communication be kept to secure channels only." "Understood," Carter replied. He walked to the table and shut down the main display. "They're watching us, listening, which means they're worried." Shen folded her arms. "If they're worried, they'll act fast. We might not get another chance to walk away on our terms." Carter sat down. His eyes swept across his team. "We're not here to start a war, but we're not here to surrender either. I need to know, are you all with me?" One by one, the team nodded. Later that evening, Carter stood on a private balcony overlooking the Citadel's inner dome. Below, he saw crowds of alien civilians, diplomats and security units moving about in quiet harmony. It looked peaceful, beautiful, even. But now he saw it differently. Perfect order. No chaos, no opposition, only silence. He tapped his wrist console and opened a secure line. "Aurora, let's talk options." "Confirmed. Reviewing scenario projections. If Earth rejects Council terms, probability of diplomatic fallout, 88%. Economic sanctions, 67%. Military response, 23%. and rising. And if we comply, Earth loses control of Aurora systems. Strategic vulnerability rises to 91%. Long-term sovereignty impact severe. Within 5 years, Earth would become dependent on Council infrastructure. Self-governance would degrade. Carter breathed slowly. What would you do if you were me? A pause. I would choose the path that keeps Earth free, even if it is harder. Carter gave a quiet nod. That confirmed what he already knew. The easy path wasn't the right one. He turned away from the balcony and began writing a message. It would be sent to Earth's planetary council, encrypted and discreet. Status update. The council's terms threaten Earth's autonomy. Negotiations have shifted toward coercion. I will not sacrifice our freedom. Prepare for potential fallout. I will do what's necessary. He signed the message and sent it. Back inside, he changed into his formal uniform. The final negotiation session would begin in the morning. Varun would expect an answer. He stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the collar. He looked calm, steady, but in his eyes burned the fire of a decision made. Before sleeping, he walked to the main control panel. Activate private lock, he ordered. Disable external monitoring. No interruptions. Confirmed, Aurora replied. He looked out at the stars one more time. We're not bending, he whispered. Understood. As Carter lay down, the weight of Earth rested on his shoulders. He knew tomorrow would change everything, one way or another. The day began with silence. The corridors of the interstellar peace citadel were more crowded than usual. Delegates from across the galaxy filled the upper halls. Their voices were quiet, their movements sharp. Everyone knew that today's session would decide Earth's place in the galaxy, or remove it altogether. Commander James Carter rose early. He stood alone in his quarters, dressed in full formal uniform, the silver emblem of Earth shining on his chest. He looked at himself in the mirror for a long moment. There was no fear in his eyes, only clarity. Aurora's voice came through his neural link. Council chamber security levels elevated. Defensive drones stationed at exits. Emotional temperature in Council Hall. Tense. Let them watch, Carter said. They'll want a front row seat. He met his team outside the quarters. Lieutenant Shen, Dr. Monroe, and the other delegates looked prepared but quiet. There were no more debates. No more plans to delay. The walk to the council hall felt longer than usual. Carter led the group through the wide corridors as alien eyes watched from every corner. Whispers followed them, translated and unspoken, but all meaning the same thing. Is this the day Earth gives in, or breaks away? Inside the council hall, the room was already full. Delegates from over 100 species sat in their places, arranged in rings around the center platform. The dome above projected the stars outside in a slow, endless drift. At the center stood High Chancellor Varun, calm and unreadable as always. His shimmering skin caught the dome's light as he raised one hand to begin. Delegates of the Council, citizens of the galaxy, today we conclude negotiations with Earth, the newest rising power among us. Their inclusion is not only valuable, it is essential to our shared peace. He turned toward Carter. Commander James Carter, have you reached a decision? Carter stepped forward, his boots firm on the polished platform. Every eye followed him. Every voice fell silent. I have, he said clearly. He let the pause settle before continuing. Earth is committed to peace. We respect this council, your history, and the lives you protect. But we cannot, will not accept the terms as they stand. A wave of murmurs spread across the chamber. Carter went on. Handing over control of our AI system, Aurora, would make Earth vulnerable. You say it is for unity and balance. But what you ask for is control. And we did not come here to surrender. Chancellor Varun's expression didn't change, but the glow in his eyes flickered. This is not surrender, Varun said smoothly. It is cooperation, sacrifice for the greater good. Carter shook his head once. True cooperation doesn't start with threats. It doesn't come wrapped in rules designed to strip us of our power. You don't want partners, you want followers. The chamber grew restless. Some delegates looked uneasy. Others watched silently. A few seemed to nod, ever so slightly. Varun's voice lowered. Are you prepared for what this decision means, Commander? Isolation, risk, possible conflict. I am, Carter said. He looked around the chamber, his voice rising with calm strength. Earth will not trade freedom for comfort. We will not give up sovereignty for a seat at the table. If peace demands we kneel, then it is not peace at all. Without waiting for a reply, Carter turned. His team followed without a word. They walked down the platform out of the circle of lights and toward the large doors. The chamber was stunned. Many delegates stood. Some shouted questions. Others sat in silence, unsure what to say. Carter didn't stop. As the heavy doors closed behind him, the sound echoed like a crack across the citadel. Outside the hall, the silence was replaced by rapid messages and alerts. News of the walkout spread across systems. Live feeds broadcast Carter's final words on a dozen planets. Reactions were instant and divided. Some worlds called Earth arrogant, dangerous, a rogue state, but others called it brave. Inside the Earth delegation's private chambers, Carter removed his uniform jacket and sat down. Dr. Monroe looked at him. It's done. Yes, Carter said. Lieutenant Shen asked the question on all their minds. What now? Carter leaned back. Now we go home. And we prepare. They'll test us, pressure us, maybe more. He looked toward the stars outside the window. But they'll know one thing. Earth doesn't bow. Aurora's voice came through quietly. Transmission requests from independent systems increasing. Several worlds wished to speak off the record. Carter gave a faint smile. Interesting. Maybe we're not alone in this after all. He stood once more, straight and steady. Earth had walked away from the most powerful table in the galaxy. But Carter hadn't walked away in fear. He'd walked away to protect something greater. The citadel was quiet. The halls that had once echoed with talk of peace now whispered with rumors. Delegates avoided eye contact. Security drones hovered more closely than before. The council chamber remained sealed, its lights dimmed. The Earth delegation's quarters were already packed. Commander James Carter stood by the wide observation window as his team made final preparations to leave. Outside, stars glided silently past the citadel, their cold beauty unchanged. But something had shifted. Not in the stars, but in the galaxy itself. Lieutenant Shen closed the last security case. Evac ready in 10 minutes, Commander. Flight path cleared. No interference so far. Dr. Monroe added. We've received messages from 5 planetary systems, some official, some not. All of them are watching. Some are inspired. Carter nodded. Good. He didn't say more. He didn't need to. News of Earth's walkout had already spread across the galaxy. Some member worlds of the Council were quick to criticize, calling it reckless, arrogant, dangerous. But others, especially fringe colonies and outer rim systems, had started to ask their own questions. Why did the Council need control over every system? Why was one voice, Varun's, always louder than the others? Earth's defiance had sparked doubt. Doubt was a powerful thing. As the team boarded their ship, Carter paused at the top of the ramp. He looked back at the citadel. It still shined like a jewel in the dark, still perfect on the outside, but now he could see the cracks. Inside the ship, Aurora activated the systems. Commander, trajectory locked. Departure window optimal. Estimated time to Earth orbit, 27 hours. Engage, Carter said. The ship detached from the citadel with a soft hum. It drifted for a moment, then launched forward, engines lighting up the void behind it. Carter sat in the command chair, eyes fixed on the stars ahead. Behind him, his team worked in silence. They had made the choice. Now they had to live with it. He opened a secure channel to Earth's planetary council. The connection flickered, then stabilized. This is Commander James Carter, he said. Negotiations with the United Galactic Council have ended. We rejected their terms. I made the final call. He paused. They wanted access to Aurora, to everything. It was never about peace. It was about control. I will not apologize for choosing freedom. The line remained open, recording his message. We expect pressure, maybe more, but Earth will stand on its own terms. If that means we walk alone, so be it. At least we'll be walking as ourselves. He ended the transmission. The stars moved slowly outside the ship. Carter watched them, thoughtful. For the first time since the negotiations began, he felt light, not relieved, but clear. The weight hadn't disappeared, but now it had a name, a purpose. Aurora's voice returned. Commander, 3 independent systems have requested direct contact. Should I begin encrypted communication? Yes, Carter said. Let's talk to them, carefully. Confirmed. Shen entered the control deck and sat beside him. Do you think we did the right thing? She asked. Carter didn't answer right away. He thought about Earth, its cities, its people, its messy history. He thought about how far humanity had come, and how close they'd come to giving it all away for a seat at the table. We didn't choose the easy way, he said, but we chose the right one. He leaned back in his chair. If peace means silence, it's not peace. We were never meant to be silent. Shen nodded slowly. As the ship continued through the black, the stars burned on, distant, endless, watching. But Earth was no longer just a newcomer. It had spoken, and the galaxy had heard.